In a world of politicians, gods, and scholars, who truly sees the world most clearly? Is it one with the most knowledge, or the one with the most power? For Sadu Dotharl, the answer has always been brutally simple. Today, we're talking about one of Final Fantasy XIV's most savage allies and fiercest rivals. A warrior who doesn't just seek power, she measures truth through it. So, what's really going on inside the head of Dotharl Khatun? The answer lies in her tribe's belief in death and rebirth, and in the uniquely combative bond she forms with you, the Warrior of Light. First, a major spoiler warning for the main story of Final Fantasy XIV, especially the Stormblood and Endwalker expansions. If you're not caught up, you have been officially warned. Sadu Dotharl makes an immediate and unforgettable impression. She's a fan favorite, and it's easy to see why. She has overwhelming power, a razor-sharp tongue, and a savage kind of honesty that cuts straight through pretense. But to really understand Sadu, we have to look past the spectacle. We have to look at the land that forged her, the vast, violent Azim Steppe. We have to understand the laws of her people, and the belief system behind every laugh, every insult, and every swing of her staff. The Azim Steppe is a land ruled by conflict, where strength is constantly tested and weakness is rarely forgiven. Among the Xaela who live there, few tribes are feared more than the Dotharl. They are known as the Undying Ones. To outsiders, that sounds like arrogance. To the Dotharl, it is simply truth. One of the clearest windows into their worldview comes when death touches their tribe. Where others would mourn, the Dotharl see return. You see, a warrior who dies well has not been lost forever. They believe that a valiant death causes the soul to burn bright enough to guarantee rebirth within the tribe. And within a year, that soul is expected to return in a newborn child. When that child is born, it falls to the tribe's spiritual authority to recognize the soul and restore the name it once carried. Death is not the end of a warrior's story. It is only the turning of the page. That belief explains almost everything about Sadu and her people. Why fear death if it is only a doorway? Why cling to safety if glory promises return? For the Dotharl, strength is not just admirable, it is sacred. A glorious death in battle is not a tragedy to avoid, but a fate worthy of pursuit. That belief makes them terrifying in combat, but it also keeps their numbers low. Their warriors do not live cautious lives. This philosophy shapes more than battle. It shapes their identity itself. To the Dotharl, the soul matters more than the body. Men may be reborn as women, and women as men. Sadu herself is said to have lived previous lives as a man. In a culture like that, she is not defined by ordinary expectations. She is judged by power, will, and whether she can lead. And when Sadu looks at the world, that is the lens she uses. You see, life is battle. Truth is proven through strength, and only a death worth remembering gives life its meaning. That is the worldview she brings with her the moment she meets you. Our first meeting with Sadu is not diplomatic. When the Warrior of Light arrives on the steppe seeking aid for Doma, Sadu does not see a savior. She sees a challenger, She let you walk among her people not out of kindness, but because your deeds have proven you are worth noticing. Her words set the tone immediately. You are granted leave to witness the glory and despair of her people, because strength has earned you that right. That is what makes Sadu so different from almost every other ally in the game. Most people look at the warrior of light and see hope. Sadu looks at you and sees someone worth testing. She respects your power, but for her, respect is not quite admiration. Respect is confrontation. It is a challenge. It is collision. For Sadu, battle is not just violence. It is communication. You see, that dynamic comes into full view during the Naadam, the ceremonial struggle that determines which tribe will rule the steppe. There, Sadu is completely in her element. She is wild, ecstatic, and terrifying, hurling herself into conflict with the full force of her aether and shaping the battlefield itself with towering walls of earth. But this is also where her character shows more depth. When the Garlean Empire invades, Sadu's forces change instantly. The rivalries of the steppe stop mattering. The contest is no longer tribe against tribe. It becomes home against invader. And Sadu does not hesitate. She turns her strength against the common enemy and fights beside the very warrior she had every intention of crushing. That matters, because it proves her brutality is not mindless cruelty. It is tied to loyalty, conviction, and a fierce devotion to her people and their way of life. The bond she forms with the warrior of light is not built on affection in the usual sense. It is built on mutual recognition. You are not valuable to her because you are kind. You are valuable because you are strong enough to stand with her. And in Sadu's world, that means everything. It would be easy to write Sadu off as just a brute. But that would be a mistake, because beneath the laughter and bloodlust is a kind of brutal wisdom. Sadu's violence gets attention, but her clarity is what makes her memorable. In a world full of careful diplomacy, polished speeches, and political maneuvering, she says exactly what she means. She has no patience for performance, no respect for status without strength, and no interest in pretending weakness is anything else. And nowhere is this more entertaining than in her feud with Magnai. Her constant mockery of the self-proclaimed sun is some of the best character comedy in the game. She delights in puncturing his ego, ridiculing his posture, and reducing all his pomp to something laughable. It's funny every single time. But it also reveals something important about her. Sadu simply cannot stand empty pride. If someone wants to claim greatness, they had better be able to prove it. And as far as she is concerned, Magnai spends far too much time talking like a legend and not enough time living like one. That dynamic continues well beyond Stormblood, and every new exchange reinforces the same truth. Sadu sees through people quickly, and she has no mercy for pretense. That same directness makes her a powerful ally later in the game as well, when the conflict expands beyond the steppe and the war pushes into Garlemald. Sadu does not arrive with lofty speeches about destiny. She arrives to fight. During the campaign surrounding the Tower of Babel, she stands with her allies because there is an enemy before her, and that is reason enough. That is the strange wisdom of Sadu Dotharl. She is savage, yes, but she is also one of the purest examples of a character who knows exactly what she values, exactly what she despises, and exactly where she stands. In a world full of masks, Sadu is frighteningly real. Sadu Dotharl is far more than a powerful mage or a hot-headed warrior. She is the living embodiment of a philosophy. Through her, we see a world where strength is not just a tool, it is a measure of truth. Her life is shaped by the Dotharl belief in glorious death and certain rebirth, a belief that strips fear of its power and turns battle into something almost sacred. Her relationship with the Warrior of Light is what makes that philosophy personal. She does not follow you like so many others do. She tests you, challenges you, measures you, and in doing so, becomes one of the most distinctive allies in the game. Even her cruelty has meaning. Her insults, her mockery, her hunger for conflict, all of it comes from someone who cannot tolerate falsehood, weakness disguised as greatness, or power without proof. That is why Sadu stands apart. She does not want to simply save the world with words. She wants to meet it head-on and prove herself against it. And, in her own savage way, she may be one of the most honest allies the Warrior of Light has ever had. So, I just have to ask you, what are your favorite Sadu moments? Does her brutal honesty resonate with you? Or does her endless rivalry with Magnai make you laugh every time? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy taking a closer look at the world of Final Fantasy XIV, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Alright my friends, thank you so much for watching.